Okay, this video is going to be a little longer because we're going to address the issue of subject matter jurisdiction of the federal courts. Subject matter jurisdiction is the authority of the court to act. In America, our courts cannot enforce religious beliefs or habits or practices or customs or even common sense. Our courts are only authorized to enforce constitutionally authorized law. And subject matter jurisdiction are the three elements necessary for the court to show that it is constitutionally authorized to act to help a plaintiff like the Department of Justice with a claim brought to the court in a complaint like one for taxes. So subject matter jurisdiction can be thought of as the three-legged stool that has to be assembled to create the platform for the plaintiff to be able to step up onto the stool and have standing before the court to argue their case and seek the court's help with the enforcement of the tax. So subject matter jurisdiction is three-legged stool. Either the stool exists and can be assembled and shown to the defendant and to the court, or the plaintiff doesn't have standing in the court to seek the court's assistance with enforcing its claim for tax. So the three legs of the subject matter jurisdiction stool are power granted to act, power given to Congress to write law with respect to the power granted, and Congress has actually written the law to do that. These three elements make up the subject matter jurisdiction of the court, and if any of the three elements are missing, the court cannot establish subject matter jurisdiction and it must dismiss the case. Now, the original Constitution gave the Congress three powers to exercise to tax the activities of the American people. It's in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1, the power to tax by impost, duty, and excise. The original powers of the Constitution that were granted by the main body of it were all made enforceable by an authorized Congress through the original necessary and proper enabling enforcement clause of Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. So the first two legs of the subject matter jurisdiction stool, which is a three-legged stool that must be able to be shown exists, or the plaintiff doesn't have standing in the court. The three legs are power granted, authority to write law with respect to the power, and Congress actually has to write a law. If any one of those three elements are missing, the court cannot establish subject matter jurisdiction sufficient to help the plaintiff with its claim in the court, and the court must dismiss the action until that jurisdictional problem can be cured. So, without subject matter jurisdiction, the courts must dismiss. And this is very, very important. Why is this important? Because for the last 80 years, since World War II, the government has been telling you that you owe income tax because of the 16th Amendment. And the federal government has been going to court arguing that it's the 16th Amendment that created the tax that you owe, or created the power to tax that you now owe as the income tax. Well, why is that important? Well, it's important because they disavow any authority under Article 1 by impost, duty, or excise. They disavow those authorities are involved. It's only the 16th Amendment. Oh, so you claim your source of legal authority to tax my income is the 16th Amendment. Okay, so that's leg one of the subject matter jurisdiction stool. But did you ever notice there's no enabling enforcement clause in the 16th Amendment? That means Congress isn't authorized to write law for this allegedly new power to tax income, rather than foreigners by impost, exported goods by duty, and commodities, licenses, and corporations by excise. You see, before the 16th Amendment, no taxing power reached the labor of the American people with legal effect. They had no way to tax your labor. And that's why they have to claim it's the 16th Amendment that gives them the authority to do so now. But when they claim the 16th Amendment is their source of the constitutional power to tax, they widow the court from its ability to show subject matter jurisdiction, because the court cannot show that there is any enabling enforcement clause in the amendment to constitutionally authorize Congress to write any law to enforce this allegedly new power, allegedly created by the 16th Amendment. Subject matter jurisdiction does not exist under the 16th Amendment. It has never existed. The claim that you owe tax because of the 16th Amendment is a blatant legal fraud. There is absolutely no way to establish subject matter jurisdiction in the federal courts to enforce anything under the 16th Amendment. And that, of course, is why the Supreme Court ruled in 1916 that it's not a direct tax under the 16th Amendment, that no new powers were created by the 16th Amendment, and that no new subjects were brought under the umbrella of federal taxability by the 16th Amendment. So if they couldn't tax labor before the amendment, and no new powers are created, no new powers are made enforceable, no new persons are subject to any taxing power that either existed before or was allegedly created, how do you get to court claiming you owe tax under the 16th Amendment? The case has to be immediately dismissed. The IRS has it all over their frivolous documents on the internet that says it's frivolous to claim the 16th Amendment didn't create a new power to tax directly. Everything they do administratively to enforce the tax is done as though it's a direct tax without limitation, freed from the apportionment and proportionate imposition requirements of Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, and Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4 that do still control all direct taxes, because the 16th Amendment didn't repeal or amend those limitations. And that's why the Supreme Court said, partially why, the 16th Amendment does nothing. It does nothing. The only persons that the 16th Amendment controls are the federal judges, who can no longer use a source argument as the basis for a finding that the tax is direct, and unconstitutionally so because it's not apportioned. That's the only thing the 16th Amendment does. Without an enabling enforcement clause in the amendment, like there is in the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, Congress can't write law. If Congress can't write law, if the court can't show that Congress is constitutionally authorized to write law by the amendment, then they can't entertain any claims in the court that are founded in, allegedly, the 16th Amendment. And this is why the underground myth that the tax is voluntary has survived for 100 years. Because the minute you tell me that I owe the tax, allegedly, because of the 16th Amendment, I know it has to be voluntary. Because Congress isn't authorized to write any law under the amendment. Therefore, if the amendment is your source of authority, it has to be voluntary, because Congress can't write any law for that, and the court can't take subject matter jurisdiction to enforce any claim brought to the court. So subject matter jurisdiction is the lost knowledge that sets us free.